If you're looking for a new career, tune in here for the next few minutes. You might find your new employer. I'm with Keith Perret of State Farm. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm good, Neil. How are you doing today?
Excellent. First of all, the location that you are at is a stone's throw from a famous golf tournament.
That's a fact.
So, I mean, who needs necessarily huge salaries and health insurance when you're near the National, right?
That's right. Well, and truthfully, our location does help us as far as what I have found with different people. It's not that difficult to get to. I mean, if you're coming from Evans, you better be prepared to drive a little bit.
Sure.
But most people can get there pretty easily. It's easy to find. When you tell people where it is, it's easy to describe. So
yeah, that's great.
We do like it there.
That's a great point. And of course, that's Keith's vehicle, and that's the front door, and it's just on the way to the Calhoun Expressway, just same side of the road as the National.
Yeah. And speaking of vehicle, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but today is the 4th of May.
Yeah.
And we're going to be out at the racetrack in Jackson, the drag strip, for the next 3 days with Bring It Back Meets and it's Vengeance Racing.
Gotcha.
And so we got all kind of things going on out there. We're one of the sponsors out there, so we'll have our tent set up. I think tonight they're doing small wheel drag racing, 16 car shootout for $10,000. Tomorrow they're doing test and tune all day, and then I think it's going to culminate with golf carts, actually.
Okay,
and they have 3 classes. They have electric, gas, and modified.
Sure.
I can't wait to see what a modified golf cart looks like.
Exactly.
And how fast that thing can go, right?
Yeah, and community services is part of what Keith, as the agency owner, offers. Always involved at the board of directors with the chamber and so many different community events, which is fantastic. Why do you love your career in the insurance field, and why should someone consider it, and how do they get started?
I think to answer that question, why do I love my job or career in the insurance field? It's not that I love selling insurance, right? I mean, sales is sales is sales. We're all in sales to some degree. I don't care what you do. You got to have people skills. You got to be able to talk to people, and you got to be able to show them value in whatever it is.
And even just influence people, that's a form of selling. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But one of the main reasons and one of the things that I like about it when it's rolling the way it's supposed to be is it gives me entree into a lot of different things in the community. And I've been able to meet a lot of great people in the last 4 years. In fact, during the Masters, we did a red carpet event with the chamber, and I was able to spend some time with Senator Lee Anderson. And funny enough, I was standing with my wife talking to somebody from Senator Warnock's office, and this man walks up, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Shakes my hand, and he shakes Raquel's hand, and we were like, "Okay, hi." We turned around and kept talking what we were doing. But after a while, I noticed that everybody was coming up to this guy wanting to talk to him.
Governor?
Yeah, and they wanted to take your picture. So I asked him, I said, "Who is that guy right there?" Like, that's Governor Kemp. So I went back over to him. I was like, "Hey, Governor," I said, I had no idea who you were.
Yeah.
And he kind of found that funny.
He's a humble pro-business guy.
Very good guy.
Which is awesome. Keith's website, by the way, is kpinthehouse.com, and you can learn a little more about his background and State Farm, of course. And is it a type of thing where you have a big runway to get started? Like, do you have to be licensed? How does that go?
So you do have to have your license, at least in property and casualty, which allows you to sell homes, auto insurance, commercial insurance, different things like that. Then we want people to get their life and health, so they can sell life insurance and they can sell health insurance. So you can bring the full package of what we have to the table.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't know that State Farm sells life insurance.
Right.
Unless we tell them.
I would just think of it, they protect you in case you get out on the Bobby Jones and get into a fender bender.
Well, if you see our Tier 1 advertising with Jake from State Farm, the only thing they ever talk about is home and auto.
That's right.
So therefore, a lot of people just don't realize it. And it's our job. One of the things that, if you're going to work in the insurance industry, is you have to be good at making sure you let people know the things that you have to offer. And really what you have to do is you have to diagnose their issues, and you got to find their hurt and find out where they're at in their life. It's not a product as much as it is a plan for people to make sure that they're covered.
Right.
So if you came into my office and I sold you car insurance, and I didn't bother to explain to you what liability means to you, what med pay means to you, what it means to have certain levels of comprehensive and collision, all those things, and I let you go out of there just with the cheapest possible price you could get.
Right.
I've done a very much a disservice to you.
And by the way, about a year ago, he did that at Doc's Porchside Restaurant and explained everything to me. And we're very happy customers and appreciate getting text messages and things, because you got to communicate. Sometimes auto rates go up, and you're the messenger, right?
Yeah, one of the things that's happening across the industry right now is that rates are going up. It's not a State Farm thing. It's not a Geico thing. It's not a Farm Bureau thing. It's an industry-wide thing, and really, it's a Joe Biden economy thing.
Gotcha.
Because when you look at what has happened since COVID, people started driving again, but they lost their freaking minds, right? There's the accidents. There's more. The severity and the frequency of accidents is way up. The cost of parts is way up. The cost of labor is way up. People are taking longer to get their cars fixed because of the supply chain issues, right? And then, I think it's like 95% of all bodily injury claims now have a lawyer involved.
Right.
So all that creates a sense where, we have to take back rate. And we try to do it as gently as we possibly can. And our job, and one thing, and I'll be very honest, we did not do a great job of this at the beginning of the year, was letting people know that rates were going up. It was almost like we thought it would be a good idea to just let them get surprised with, like, they're not going to notice, right? So we have put some things in place now where anytime somebody's rate changes, we're going to email them, we're going to text them, and invite them to call us, and call me in particular, to talk about why that is.
Great.
So that they have a good understanding of, because then you look, I noticed on my bills, if my internet bill goes up $20, I'm gonna notice that
and question it. Yeah, and again, Keith Perret's website is KP for Keith Perret, kpinthehouse.com. So if someone is watching this and they come see you on Washington Road and they say, "I want to work for you. I want to learn how I can grow," would it take them through the rest of the year to study and get a license?
No. Okay. You should be able to get your initial license within 30 days.
Wow.
It doesn't take that long. If you put your mind to it, I've had some people did it in 2 weeks. Okay. Personally, when I got licensed, I took a in-person class on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I took both tests on a Friday and passed them both. So it can be done. I'm not that smart, right? I test well, and that's why I was able to do that. But if you put your mind to it, 30 days is plenty. And then the next 30 days, you get your life license. But that's kind of a test for us. When we bring somebody in, is can they do that? Because if they can't do that, chances are they're not going to make it in this industry.
Yeah.
And really what you're looking for in an employee is the same thing everybody's looking for. I just want somebody that comes to work, right? I want somebody that comes to work to focus on what we do, that brings a great attitude, that fits our culture, that believes in our values, and that can check their drama at the door. Right. I look at it this way. If you got a lot of stuff going on in your life, as we all do,
sure,
right? Use your work time as a respite from that. A time to go, hey, I don't have to think about all those things right now. I can just focus for the next 8 hours on work, being the best I possibly can. Leave there feeling good about yourself because you put forth a good effort. It's my job to train you and make sure that you have all the tools that you need to be successful. But I do that.
Yeah.
And State Farm does a good job of giving us products that are sellable. The biggest thing I find with people that they struggle with is they will, if I'm writing a person's car insurance, right, I get so excited that I'm selling car insurance that I don't want to screw up the sale and talk about something else. But it's rare that we sell auto insurance without writing somebody's home.
They call that the bundle,
it's a bundle,
and you save money.
And that's your biggest discount right there. Yeah. Or if they rent a renter's insurance. But then there's different ways that you need to be able to talk about other products. For example, if I'm describing an accident, to talk about liability insurance, and I say, okay, so you're driving, you look at your phone, you look up and you rear end somebody and you hurt them, and there's a whole story that goes along with that. But the other part of that is, okay, what if instead of rear ending them, you veered across the lane and you hit somebody head on and you didn't make it home tonight? Then what happens? What happens to your family? What happens to the people you leave behind? And so that's a great segue into life insurance.
Gotcha.
And then if they have kids, one of the things we talk about is supplemental health insurance, where, if you, it's like, I hate to use another company's name, it's like Aflac, right? If you get hurt and you go to the doctor, it pays you cash while you're there. So it's a great little product for anybody that has kids in sports, anybody that's in any kind of a field, like even being like a plumber or a welder or a carpenter or anything like that, where you have potential to get hurt. Mm-hmm. It's a great product.
We're continuing with Keith, kpinthehouse.com. Keith, usually with every type of sales process, there's a service process too. Yeah. So how does a workday break down if someone is interested in coming to work?
So we've tried it a couple of different ways where we separated them out. These people were service and these people were sales. What we've been forced into at the moment is we had some people leave for various reasons, is we're all doing service and we're all doing sales. And what I'm going to do in my office, because look, every agent does it differently. There's no two State Farm agents that do it the same way. What we're going to do is I'm going to make sure that everybody is cross-trained in everything. Mm-hmm. That way, if somebody's out, we don't have a problem with that. You know, we can just talk to them or we can go just like they weren't there, because we all know how to do everything.
Sure.
That way, you know, and this is a phrase we use, that way no one ever holds the agency hostage.
Right. That's a great point. Yeah. And lastly, how about the earning potential of somebody that maybe comes aboard? Do you have a sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, of course I do. You know, I mean, it just depends on what you're willing to do and how hard you're willing to work, because there is a commission-based component of all this. Mm-hmm. You know, but I would think somebody that comes in their first year that's working hard should make in the 50s.
Right.
And then you can make more than that. And the bigger thing is that if you have somebody that's that likes this field and wants to do this, there is a path for them to become an agent and have their own business.
Right.
And run it how they want to run it and have their employees. Because our employees as an agent are not employees of State Farm. They're employees of Keith Perret Agency doing business as Keith Perret State Farm.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it. I will tell you this: when you get into a business, whether it's insurance or anything else, there's a lot to being a small business owner, as you well know.
Absolutely.
And you know, we sit on a board together that talks about the issues that business owners have, and those are no different for us. It's the same thing. So you got to balance all that and have a life balance as well. And the biggest thing for me is I just try to not stress.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be what it's going to be. If we're doing the right thing by people, if we're putting forth the best possible effort we can, if we're managing our time wisely, the rest of it's going to take care of itself.
Well, Keith's a good egg to work for. And, you know, they say the easiest person to sell is a salesperson. So don't tell him I told you this, but you can probably twist his arm and get a few more dollars because he's a sales guy. So he appreciates that. Yeah. Push him, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, except for the fact that with State Farm, agents have no say-so in rates.
And the commissions and rates.
Sometimes people forget that. They think that we have some magic button we can push, and you can look at different discounts for people.
Yeah,
and make sure they're getting all the discounts they need. But fact are, the rates are set by the company. And we are as much, and it affects me and my cars and my home just as much as it does you.
Oh, of course, yeah. But I meant get together with Keith, and if you're the right person, he'll take care of you. And again, kpinthehouse.com. Keith and State Farm Hiring wish you the best of success. Thank you, Keith, as well.
All right. Thanks, Neil.
Yes,
Appreciate it.